covering all your favorite parts of the 50-yard fight. This is the Inside the Walls podcast with Zach Kyleman and Jim Mernier.
Welcoming one and all into our latest edition of our NAL Championship series, where we are bringing you coverage and conversation from folks around the NAL that are involved in the 2022 National Rally League Championship, with the Albany Empire hosting the Carolina Cobras. This week, we are going to continue this series with an Empire-centric episode on this one, as we bring in team president Jeff Levack back on to the Inside the Walls podcast. Hey, Jeff, good to see you, man.
Good to see you guys.
It feels like forever since we've had you on. You know, it's kind of strange not to have you and Gaz on at the same time after our last show, but I mean,
I knew you wouldn't do that again. I knew you wouldn't make that mistake twice. I figured that was.
we did kind of, we had to brace ourselves. I mean, I got plenty of time to talk to Gaz in pregame shows this season, so space out. I gotta kind of we gotta balance it out. Now we gotta get more Levack. So now
I get it. I wouldn't talk to him as much as I do if I didn't have to. So I'm with you. I understand completely.
That's if this Wi-Fi is fully operational.
Oh my God! Every single show we do, he's just like, everything's good, everything's fine, and I was like, it's like, oh yeah, good point, guys. Way to go, buddy.
I too understand peanutese, if you know what I mean.
Right. Oh, nobody did their social studies homework. All right, here we go.
Well, Jeff, welcome back on, and congrats, second straight year with the Empire and hosting the championship. You see that game ball he's got up from last year, looks really snazzy.
I hid this one. This is I think I'm the only one in our office who actually has one. So when you hear what Manas has to say about me having that, so
he doesn't watch his show. You better be careful.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I hear about it. I hear about you guys weekly, especially you, Jim. Or as we like to call you, Shark Homer.
Let me tell you about my best friend.
Wait a minute. I feel like I'm getting hosed here. Jim is usually like in some remote location in his car. Now he's actually he's in a house. What is going on? Did you get the word that it's my life's dream to find where you're parked and knock on the window for one of your shows?
Well, where I live is the internet is so freaking bad that it's like I have best service ever, just doesn't work in my development.
Oh.
Like if someone walks by and sneeze, I'm buffering. And I'm like, I ain't dealing with it. Nope. I ain't dealing with it. So I went over to a friend's house and they have perfect internet. So I'm doing it here today.
There you go. So
he survives, adapts, evolves.
Yeah. Instead of being in the Starbucks parking lot, here he's at a friend's house.
Indeed.
The library. Surprising connection with the library.
That's good. I like that.
Well, it's a free public Wi-Fi. You can get it in the parking lot too. It's like, why not just go to the library? So.
There you go. I don't know how to read. That's why I don't go. So it's whatever.
Well,
I buffer when I go to the library. Read the book. YouTube clip. Just watch that. If it's not on YouTube, I'm not going to learn about it.
Where news comes from, YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, man, for a guy that claims he can't read, he's doing a pretty good job at, holding down the fort, getting the Empire set up nice and tidy this year. Get a whole year where you're not having to say, hey, 1 month, time to hit the starter. Now you got a whole season that you prepped up for. Last time we had you on, we kind of talked about the preparation for it. We're going to revisit you back on here. I mean, how's the year been now? You're through the 13 games. I want to add on the semis. I mean, here you are, crazy game coming in. Now you get to watch yourself host with a full, felt like Empire year under your belt.
Yeah, it's actually, I feel like this year might be harder. Like last year was tough, don't get me wrong, but no one expected anything from us because, it was COVID, it was this, that, and the other thing. Now, anytime something goes wrong, people are like, well, why wouldn't you have plenty of footballs? I don't know. We bought 500 of them and we went through them. I don't know how we did it. We did it very quickly, and then you can't order anything because the supply chain's still down. And, people here in the Cap region, I think some are still a little hesitant to go out into large gatherings. And we've seen that, in the stands, but the love is there. The public, every time we go out somewhere, if I'm wearing the polo and I'm shopping, it's like, oh, Levack, man, go Empire. And it's like, hey, I'll see you Saturday. And they're like, maybe, I don't know. So it's coming together. It's definitely, the time is better. Like having more time is better, but it's also the bar has been raised.
I will be honest. Some of our most passionate listeners are from that said fan base. I swear every week we get at least 1 to 2 questions or comments from Empire fans. So there's no question about the dedication whatsoever. They are some of the best folks in the NAL without a doubt. And you're talking, you just keep building it up. That's the thing. You're building it up. And you guys have been doing a lot of stuff like Coach's Show. I felt like this year, you and Tom getting on the show like that and doing that stuff. It's been really entertaining, quality, extra content is what I want to say. It's been good.
That's what he wants to say, but what do you have to say?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, it's the best thing about Coach is he doesn't mix words. Like he's not concerned in whether or not you like him. He likes to tell everybody, look, I'm 62. It is what it is at this point. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And for me, if somebody like Mike Corda is dumb enough to call me president, well, then you're going to deal with whatever happens when your president says whatever he wants to say. You knew, we've been friends since kindergarten. You knew what you were hiring. Like there's no going, oh, I can't believe Levack said that. I said the same thing that got me, put in a corner in kindergarten. So it's fun to have those kind of open conversations, with Coach, and the way people have reacted to it has been great. People are making, memes and GIFs about us talking and everything now, which is fun. And, just one more thing to show the fans that we're as invested as they are. And we want to talk and want to have fun, want to be open and share real information. And he'll answer the tough questions. Like, why did you run the ball here? Why did you throw the ball there? Why? And if I'll like every once in a while, I'll be like, all right, I'm not going to read him that one. He'll be like, I see you hiding the bad one. Come on, let's go. Give me the bad one. And I respect that. That's really cool of him.
Also, one thing I learned about you do a pregame show too with Levack, our guys.
Yeah.
That's I think Carolina does one, but it's pre-recorded, you and the guy. Usually when it's on the road, it's just guys and you. And when you're there in Albany, it's just guys because you're too busy. Or you show up for the first 5 minutes and guys kicks you out.
When he lets me, yeah, right.
Who started that idea to get the pregame show into the Albany's game plan? Because we see it every time in NFL, there's pregame shows, post-game shows, whatever. The arena game never had that. And you guys are usually, you and Carolina were right up front with the pregame shows to kick off this season. What started that, or whose idea was that to get that going for Albany this year?
Well, so Gaz and I, we used to do a radio show together, and then now we do the podcast. So we do 2 a week. We always do Tuesday because I work for Techies, so Techies Tuesday. Alliteration, got no choice, got to do it. By the way, it's raining up here in the capital region, and you could use Techies Fire and Water Restoration. Shameless plug. Yeah, I'll get it in there. I'm not afraid. But we always did a second one. So usually it was like a pregame for the NFL, like a betting heavy show that we do live, somewhere around here. And Gaz said, listen, if we're going to do 2, why not use the access that we have and do the pregame show? And then it turned into him basically taking it over. So it's like the Tom Gaz pregame show with, featuring Jeff Levack occasionally when he lets me in the room. But it's been fun, and a lot of our players seem to really like it. Like, to have that opportunity to get to say what they want to say, where, obviously everybody wants to hear what Sam Supernova Cash Nova has to say, Darius Prince, but every once in a while you get a hold of a Melvin Hollins, you get a hold of I see you. Yeah, I know. I'm not calling the Italian Stallion.
I was going to say, guys made that a point in the last week, and I'm like, it's not going to go well with Levack. He's going to still say it. It's like,
I texted him right away. I was like, by the way, step in my office, you're fired. You can't call yourself the Italian Stallion. That's Rocky. You know what I mean? Sam wins the championship. We'll revisit this conversation, but right now he's Supernova, whether he likes it. I send him like a Supernova picture every time he gets mad. It's fun. I love it. His dad said it's okay, so I'm good with it.
Yeah, this is funny. I'm like, the Supernova's like, wait a minute, there was a debate on the last broadcast about the nickname. Gospin literally first and second halves literally taking shots at you because you were in the chat on that night, and it's like it was back and forth. Levack going after guys, and it was just a constant argument. It was pretty funny to me. I'm just there. I'm like, want to say something, but I don't want them to come after me. I'm like, I'm just going to sit
like,
back and
the
relax.
Jacksonville fans in that chat were out of control. Out of
Ruthless. They were
control.
ruthless.
Yeah. They were out of control. It was fun, though.
I was like, they don't know Levack. I guarantee you half of them that were in the chat didn't know that you were the president. I'm like, they don't realize it's in there. And I'll say like score updates, and they go, at N Walls, you know, this is bowl info. I'm like, just ask Levack. He's there. Like, he's there. Like I'm not going to text him to just say it here. Just say it on the chat so he can say it. One thing I do got to give guys credit. Him, guys in Carolina, guys in Columbus, they acknowledge the fans in the chat room.
Yeah,
they actually
like
go back and forth, and that's one thing I like to acknowledge guys about this year's every game. He acknowledges people, and that makes what our game is so important. Gives the fans a chance to actually appreciate the game itself. And that's one thing I wish Goss was here. I was going to say thank you for the coverage. And interesting about the championship game, is he going to have someone from Carolina on the broadcast, or is it just going to be Albany doing the actual broadcast like all year long?
It'll probably be the same we normally do. I know Andrew Santillo, who's his normal partner, is out of town. Poor planning on his part. He obviously didn't have the faith in us that he should have, and booked. I think he thought actually there wasn't a bye week again. But the abuse is coming for him no matter what. So we're not sure who's sitting next to Gaz this week yet. We might bring Tim Drawbridge back. Joey Haas from last year. There was a talk about me going up there, but I haven't been on the field in so long that I feel like I've got to get back on the field and hang with my peeps. But yeah, he's going to do his normal broadcast. Carolina is sending their radio team up, so we're going to make sure they have a place to do what they need to do. And I don't know if guys will have a chance to intermingle with them, but Coach Rez called me and asked if there was a place to put them, and I was like, based on what Jim says about our arena attendance, I feel like I can find a spot for a radio team.
Hey, the thing is, it's your words, Jimmy. He can go right at you.
Hey, he can talk all the smack. See, if you look at my name, it says 1-4 versus Albany.
I appreciate that.
Talk, so. I
appreciate that. I did.
We got swept by Albany.
I did enjoy telling people like that were really giving me a hard time. I was like, I'm willing to put money on the fact that we will have the most people at any NAL arena on August 13th. I'm willing to bet that. We'll have the highest attendance of any National Arena League game on August 13th. And you saw a couple people like argue with me a little bit, and then all of a sudden it was like light bulbs go off like, oh, they're the only ones hosting.
Yeah, you got to read the line between the lines, or just kind of slow down a bit.
Right.
Take it in a little.
Right.
Oh, you should have read the chat. Levack was just dropping one-liners. I'm just like, I am not going to touch it. I'm like, Levack knows our show, and he knows my alias, so I can't do anything. I'm like,
well, like the only reason I was really going, there was like 3 or 4 people who it was homerism to the next level. And you got to be a homer for your team, especially in a chat room. I get that. But like the one person kept quoting a rule that like wasn't even applicable to what we were talking about. And then there was an individual, and I have had people walk up to me in the grocery store since Saturday and go, "Man, that Tony from Jacksonville is a real jerk." Like, and I cleaned up the words for your podcast. And like when there was a point where it looked like Jacksonville was going to win this game, and he's like making comments like, "You guys better get out of here because I'm coming for you," and blah blah blah. I'm like, listen, if you win, I will say good game, because that's what a man does. So at the end, it was a really scary game. Arvell Nelson is a man, like he's still got it. And so I just wrote, great game, Jacksonville. It's a great fan base, great whatever. Really rooting for all you guys except for Tony. You suck. And then, that was my fun. I enjoyed myself. I had a good time, interacted, answered there were some real questions about the league in there that I had a chance to answer, which I thought was fun. And then
you beat me to it, but I let you do it because you're you're actually a president of the organization. So I'm like, I'm gonna let Levack answer this question right here.
No, you do it. You listen. You're the official podcast of the National Arena League.
See, you make it sound better. So
I'll tell you, it's you talk about stuff like getting with a league conversation. I'll say that just while we're on this vein of topic, the 2 years I've done this show and gotten more involved with this league, it still blows my mind if you do a post on like the NAL, the big NAL Facebook group. Everyone knows which one, and then you just see like, oh wait, Like, we got people commenting them like, should you be commenting? Should you not be commenting? And I'm like, eventually, I like this year, I finally go, okay, this is normal. But like, still, beginning of like this year, I was like, oh, you're in this chat. Why are you in this chat? This just
yeah, Rob Storm. Why are you in there, Rob? But that's see, like that's why, like we were talking briefly before we went on, like Coach Rez. Like I love that Coach Rez interacts with our coaches show. I love that one of the team, like Rob Storm is potentially the most influential man in the National Arena League. You know, he's the majority owner in Carolina. He's got a piece of Jacksonville. He's on the board and he answers questions. Like I dig that. You know, Mike Korda, our owner, will get in the chat rooms with you. Like these are guys who love football first and are all doing something for the community. Nobody's owning a National Arena League team right now to get rich. I'm sure they all have pipe dreams down the road of, you know, every one of us selling 8,000 tickets to every game and everything. But right now, everybody's doing it for the community and for the fan bases, and they get into the chat rooms, and I love it. I think it's great. Like we're doing the coaches show, and I see a comment pop up on ours while Rez is talking from my team's page, meaning that somebody's logged into our page that says, "I want to congratulate Rob Storm on winning the season series 3-1." Basically saying we're going to win the championship game. And it was clearly Mike Korda. You know what I mean? It was clearly him. And I was like, Mike, I love you. Wow. And you know, and then him and Rob have been on the phone since, and they think it's just like Jim, like you and I were doing before the season started.
Yeah.
You know, you're a Jacksonville fan. I obviously like the Empire. We're going after it a little bit because it's fun. That's why you do it. And then you're man enough to come on here afterwards and be like, hey, you know what? Albany got us this year. And you know, one year football, like, long down the road, maybe I'll have to do the same.
Yeah, it's football. Like earlier in the year, we placed a bet about it, and I do owe you beer. Unfortunately, I won't be in Albany, so I'm going, you know, cash app you whatever the amount of a 12-pack is. So I looked up.
I'll make my way down. I'll make my way down. Or you go.
Okay.
The part of the fun is having the beer together. Like, it's not.
All right. Hey. I know a couple establishments here in Jacksonville that are pretty good, or Columbus, wherever we meet. So, but yeah, to the fans out there, I'm a person that lives up to his word. So I am paying the bet off. Yes, that's my name today, 1-4. So unfortunately, got swept. 2 of the games are only by a point. This field goal.
You know what? Now I want the more expensive beer. No domestics now, just because you had to make that.
hey, I just want. It was an extra point miss, and just 1 second left on the clock, and that was the difference between 2 of those games. That's how close both Albany and Jacksonville were in the second half. That game was incredible. Like you were watching it. I'm like, well, Albany needs to get this big conversion here, or Sharks are getting back in, and Albany didn't get a conversion, and Jacksonville chipped away. I'm like, this is going to be an exciting game to the very, very end. And boy, that Hail Mary to hit, I'm like, people were asking, oh, we get the deuce chance. Like, no, the game's over. But it was a nice Hail Mary to hit the game.
You weren't even supposed to be able to get the extra point chance.
Yeah, that's one thing I was curious about. I'm like, okay, like, kick the extra point. And I realized they're going for 2. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. I'll take the 2 points. What's the difference? You lost by 3 or lose by 1.
But you even saw our guys look around at each other and go, wait, so this is it though, right? Oh, so it's only 2. So they can't be all right. Just like Olay.
that whole sequence had me walking around my room. It's like debating with myself, but is there something? I'm like pulling up my phone, looking through the rule book, like,
And you got people on the chat going, so do we get a deuce? I'm like, no. There's no time on the clock. Right. The game this is a useless extra point or 2-point conversion. I'm like, why are they even doing this? And okay, it happened. I'm like, you know what? I'm a man of my word, so I tip my hat to Albany, to Coach Manas. We'll have him later. Yeah, you guys beat Jacksonville.
He's coming for you, by the way, Jim. He's coming for you.
He
is coming for you.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All I can tell you is I had a nice little conversation with him on the phone, and
I'm ready. Hey, like I've had people on my side go, I think you fire some people up in Albany. That's like, that's kind of my job. Like, they have great players and they listen to us, and I know Manas, like, you know, I'm gonna prove him wrong. So I'm ready. Like, hey, I'm living up to the 1-4 against the Albany Empire.
yeah.
So I dealt it. I want to take it. So that's how I am.
If you're a person listening to this show right now, just a heads up, that's coming up tomorrow. So you might want to just you might just want to hold on.
Fiery.
I can imagine some stuff.
Yeah.
like Jordan, like Michael Jordan, like would imagine things people said and use it as bulletin board material. Manas just hears everything. He's got elephant ears. He holds on to all of it, and he doesn't use it in the moment. Like you think, because I'll mess with him in the office, and I'll be like, old fart didn't even hear me. Ha ha ha! Blah, I'll walk away, and then the next day he'll do something, and I'll be like, well, because I've been winded still, because I'm getting over the COVID stuff, and he'll go, who's the old fart now? It's like, damn it, he heard me. Like he's always got it. It's always in there. And so he might have like a notepad he pulls out for you and just goes, all right, on your 51st episode, Jim, you said.
Dun 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 dun. The title of the show would be like Jim's Burial. Present by Walls.
Right. A healthy dose of crow.
No, presented by Techie's Fire Water Restoration.
There you go. Best way back to normal. There it is.
It's like what my high school football coach said. It's like if you dealt it, you better when the time comes to receive it, because if you lose or you're gonna lose the end of it, you better get it. You don't be what I'm not gonna say a wimp. He says something else. But hey, yeah, I'll like if I fired like Levack you up. I know Gaz mentioned it on one of your shows a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, okay, I know it's a little feisty. I watched one of your coaches' shows. He kind of mentioned me without actually naming me, which I'm like, oh.
Which always kills you, though. That always kills you. Just say it. Just say, it's Jim from Inside the Walls. That's the guy.
I know I'm going to get it, and I'm looking forward to the conversation because I know it's going to be like he's going to jump down on me. It's like, I appreciate you guys. Basically, like what Zach says, we'll eat crow. Well, I ate crow all freaking season now because of what he just did. He was like, you know what, James? Nope. All right. So basically, like you may see a GIF of a casket on here, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about Nas, because he may literally bury me and be like, okay, well, yeah. That's what happens when I run my mouth and the sharks don't show up. And
I'm just gonna leave the rest of this for Friday because I feel like I don't want to get too much into like somehow we'll get spoilers of things that'll be brought up. Not saying that I know stuff in advance. I'm just telling you people out there.
I can make some predictions if you need me to.
Let's leave those alone. We can talk off air.
Vegas over under.
Yeah.
We can talk off air about it.
It's like a minus 520 that some things are going to happen. I'm just saying.
Oh my God. Jeff, I gotta ask, we're as we drop this show, it's 2 days out from the championship at that point. So, you've been following all season. What do you talk about Coach Ray, you talk about the Cobras. What do you see with the Cobras that, that keeps coming up in the the three other, matchups. It's the statistics there about 0-3, but it feels, both teams, I felt it's going to give you their best selves come Saturday.
I don't think we've seen the same two teams play each other yet. Obviously Coach Rez has had his guys ready from the rip. They came out of the gate so strong. Jonathan Bain has been phenomenal. And the fact they were able to weather not having him for as long as they did, and still hold on to that 1 seed for as long as they did. That's impressive. That's really solid coaching. That's great team. That wide receiver core is phenomenal. They are really, really, really good, and they travel well. They have no qualms about hopping on a bus and coming up here, to play us. So it's impressive what they can do. I think having Bain back, having their team in place the way they do, you felt the chemistry and kick in a little bit as their game went on against Columbus. You felt, the rust come off of Bain as that game went on. So I think we're going to get the absolute best version of the Carolina Cobras, and they're going to get the absolute best version of the Albany Empire. And, the first time we played him was Mike Faithful. And, you guys know, I love Faithful. I think he's got one of the best arms out there. And I wish him nothing but success as long as he's not playing us. But to have Castranova's ability to scramble and run the football, I think that's really crucial to the Ironman game, because there's going to be points in your game where no matter how good your offensive lineman is, he's played defense and he's a little tired. Or you got a defensive lineman who's playing well, but he's still not an offensive lineman. You got to be able to get out of that pocket and extend the play. Darius Prince is playing another level. Dwayne Hollis is phenomenal. I mean, like I can go on and on, you know, to have Brandon Cisse potentially have his best game all season against the Sharks. It's the two best versions of these teams for the championship game. I don't know if you could ask for more. I really don't. I mean, I could ask for Bane to not be in this game. That if I had like a Christmas wish, that would be it. But you know, as I am developing the nickname Batman, I'm ready for you, Bane. I'm ready. So.
Oh yeah, but see, got to bring the show. You say bring the whole, all the shebang, the fireworks, as I'm calling it, for this Saturday. I want to retouch on Sam, because we had Sam on obviously earlier leading up here before you came on here. And actually with Nick Hag as well. So
I love that dude. What a nut job.
Sam's been wanting him on the show since we had him on earlier in the season. So it was like, he was like, hey, he actually texted and said, you want him on? Yeah, let's get a duo. So we did the duo. I'll tell you, he to me, and I think to many, is just the biggest surprise of the year, because of the fact, you know, his year over year improvement has been night and day. It completely different Sam Castronova than we saw last season. You know, it's truly impressive.
Yeah. There's that moment where you start to root for somebody, you know what I mean? Like, even though, like, as the team president, I don't handle the roster. You know, Coach Manas is also the GM, and what he and Coach Ware and, you know, Coach J Rich and C-Mac and what those guys can do, like, why would I even go near it? So it's always like, you know, obviously I like Mike Faithful. So I was rooting for Mike Faithful. I'd never met Sam Castronova before. We were doing our media day at Apex Entertainment, which is this really cool place that takes care of our guys up here. And I'm going around and I'm making sure everybody's getting the interviews they want, you know, one after another. Like, Mike Faithful, the UCLA guy, Mike Faithful, the UCLA. So I walk over to Sam. I'm like, hey man, do you want to talk to anybody? He's like, Levack, if somebody wants to have a conversation, I'd love to. Otherwise, I'm gonna sit here, eat some chicken tenders. Like, you just got like this vibe of like, this is a guy that even if we didn't meet because of football, I would want to hang out with him. And he has grown and just gotten better and better, and like on the field, and then you're seeing more and more of his personality off the field, which has been so much fun to watch. And he's throwing in a tighter and tighter windows. I'm not comparing him to Josh Allen, but as somebody who's seen the progression of how Josh Allen went from I'm going to run for my life to I'm going to keep my eyes down the field and try to get the ball down the field. Like, I'm seeing that from Sam from where I sit. And it's been so much fun to watch. So much fun. And there's not a guy you'd root for more. Like, there really isn't.
I find that ironic you say that, because of the fact that he was in Buffalo and was at the facility one of the bye weeks this year. So I don't know. I just find that kind of hilarious, you know, plus the area of the country you guys are in too. I get that. So, you know, but
Sam's a Buffalo fan too, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a Bills Mafia.
Yeah. That's where that insanity comes, you know, like if you're willing to jump through a flaming folding table, you're willing to dive into a linebacker, you know.
He literally lives WWE.
He does.
When I was through the table,
when I was sick, like I was only like really sick for a couple of days, and after that it was just a matter of making sure the team, like, can you imagine being like typhoid Mary for the team when you're getting ready for the playoffs and everything? So I stayed away and did my work from home. But Sam was one of the guys who checked up on me. He's like, listen, I'm gonna bring you back some real buffalo wings, clear you right out. And I'm like, don't you tease me. But he was really like, without any, you know, any provocation, anything like that. Him, Darius Prince, those guys hit me up like right away. Dwayne Hollis has been teasing me ever since. Like that's because like says our fan jerseys are 22, so I'm wearing the 22 on the field. So I call him Little Hollis, and like, so he's Hollis Island, I'm Hollis Continent. And like, so he's just abusing the hell out of me ever since he found out I was sick. Like, he shook my hand the other day and then just poured like a gallon of hand sanitizer into his palm. I'm like, I'm not even testing positive anymore. I wouldn't be here. But it's just a good group of dudes. But yeah, Sam's a guy you want to root for. And then you said Haig. I mean, I'll tell you, I'll send this picture to you guys later. We were doing a post-game press conference, and both Sam and Nick's dads were in town. And the local newspaper asked to speak to those two guys. So those two guys are sitting there at the table and everything. And Haig's dad's a character. He's like, when this gets over, ask her if she wants to talk to the real Haig. So I get Haig's dad, I get Castanova's dad. They're gonna, the questions are done. I go, do you want to talk to the real Haig and Casanova? So sure enough, we have a picture of 2 generations of Haigs and Casanovas answering questions in front of the media. And it's one of those heartwarming moments for the season. So some great stuff going on here in Empire Land.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite story from the year? I know you just mentioned, rattle off a few that are pretty good ones, but you have one that maybe you haven't said yet that you're like, okay, I got to bring this up and put it on the show here.
I'm really hoping my favorite story is going to happen in a couple days.
Well, that's fair. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I think maybe the Jacksonville trip, because that was, obviously for different reasons. Like Jim and I are going to remember that game slightly differently, but like we had that Carolina game at home and we just didn't play Empire football, or as like coach likes to say, it wasn't the Empire way. And then I got to travel with the guys. I got to see everything. And, of course I screwed up payroll. Like I'm like 3 or 4 of the guys didn't get paid the way they were supposed to. And that. So and I'm on a bus with, these monsters, these like physical, just giants. And each one of them comes up to me and goes, "It's okay, Levack. It's all right. All right. But I'm going to get my money." Right. And so it's just like, it was like bonding as it's going. And there was a moment where, Mark Orozco was missing kicks. And I go back and I see him and he's just sitting there and he's just like distraught. And I was like, "Dude, you got to get it together. You might have to go back out there. You might have to whatever." And like coaches are coming through and I'm just like, quit going through. I know better than to get involved. Mm-hmm. And he looked at me, he goes, "Levack, it's the worst day of my life." And then he hits the extra point that wins the game. So it was like one of those things where you kind of like, you saw how much he loves this game and how much he loves this team and the way the guys rallied around him, even when he missed the kicks. And it was just, that whole trip for me really just, you know what? I'll quote Manas on this. Manas likes to say, "I want this team to win a championship because I think if they do, this group of men will be calling each other 5, 10, 15 years down the road going, 'Hey, remember what we did in Albany?'" Like they've got, it's that kind of team. Like there was, like last week was the bye week. The guys were able to go rest. I was out in the field and all my offensive and defensive linemen are out running laps. Like not an organized practice. They put it together.
Oh, wow.
So it's like this is a special group of dudes. And I really, really hope they win. Not obviously I'm selfish. I'm a big time Empire fan. But I really hope they win because I think every one of these guys, there's not a single person on this team that doesn't deserve it.
And speaking of Roscoe, he's the one who hit the big crucial deuce a couple weeks ago against Jacksonville. He's come in clutch for you guys all season, and he got a big one that led you guys. Basically, that deuce is the reason why you guys won, because Jacksonville, if everything progressed, Jacksonville would have gone for 2 and would have won the game. But still, that was a clutch kick, and he looked like it was like a golf swing. He hit it, and he was holding it like freaking like when I saw him do this, I'm like, that's it. I don't even need to know where it's going. And the only thing I see was Mark Corda jumping like this underneath. I'm like, I knew it. I was like, now watch it. Like, well, that's game. And then you see people in the chat. What's going on? It's game. We don't have enough time to score 9 points. There's no way. But yeah, he's clutch. Like still. But yeah, that's that's one thing I noticed when I was in high school. The seniors, no matter what, hey, we're doing this before the game, or we're doing this before in our bye week. Why? Builds character, puts a team together. So some of my best friends are guys that I met in football. Yeah, that season we sucked. I think we won, I think 2 games. And then people in Jacksonville, those 2 games were Stanton and Paxton. Yeah, we stunk. we beat the prep schools and we lost to the legit football schools that year. But yeah, that team priority, you build for friends for life. And no matter what type of season it was, in my case, we stunk. In your case, you're 60 minutes away of hosting up your 2nd trophy in the NAL, 3rd trophy overall as a franchise. That right there is just it shows you what family is, no matter if you hate the team or you like the team, if you're a fan or not a fan. That's one thing I love about the game of football, and you saw that. You saw the team coming together, not with Nas, doing it on their own. That tells you that they want it, they're going to win it together, and they're going to look back 15, 10 years from now and go, you know what? That was worth it. So, yeah, that's one thing I love about this game.
It's a special group of guys, and like I said, last year's team was amazing, but it was like it felt like it almost felt like last year was kind of almost closure too. You know what I mean? Because a lot of those guys were the guys that had won in 19.
Right.
So it was like, okay, they never got a chance to run it back, so they came and they ran it back. This is like a whole new group of guys.
Yeah.
At least that's how it feels. I mean, Brandon Cisse has been on every. If Brandon Cisse is the only. Here's a trivia question for you. He's the only guy who's been on every year the Empire's been a football team. He's been on the roster.
I pulled out my 2019 brochure that I was the only AFL game I have been to. It was the Destroyers, their last home game, and I was looking through that roster again, just kind of skimming some memories. And it's funny. Cisse was actually
filthy roster.
I mean, it is, first off, yes, filthy roster. The fact that people don't even, I mean, they do, but like Quentin Sims, I think kind of gets forgotten sometimes
because he's a lawyer now. He went to law school.
That was that was a nice story. They talked about it on ESPN during the Arena Bowl that year. He's going to be a lawyer after this. This is kind of, he's got a career ahead of him. And I'm like, but I mean,
that's a lot of schooling.
Right.
That was a filthy roster. It's funny. Like I seen Cisse anymore, and you're right. He's the only one that's still from that group. He's got I think that's what I talked to you about. Like I'm definitely going to have him on. We're having him on the show at some point because I think the stories of just having, a transition of different eras of Albany football. I think that's a great tie-in, but it seems like you guys, even with a new group, someone it doesn't feel like the old guard. It feels like you're establishing your own. We're the Empire, but we're this brand of Empire football. This is our era.
And they've added some unique stats. Gaz made it, which I didn't know. I'm using the statistician. He goes, the Empire became the first NAL team to go back-to-back seasons as a number 1 seed. The first NAL team. I was like, wait a minute, the Sharks done that. It's like, nope, it's only an Empire because you had Sharks, Carolina, Sharks, Albany in the NAL. And I'm like, oh, I did not know that. I'm like, that's interesting.
He's good with that nerd stuff. You gotta watch out.
He just threw that out there. I'm like, something I don't know. Like, what the hell?
You can all take that home with you here. Tuning in on YouTube.
Thank you, guys.
Speaking of the Sharks, though, do you know Chatola is the one who, from down there in the Sharks organization, he's up here helping us out, getting everything ready for the championship game. There's never been a host team to lose the National Arena League Championship.
That's right.
So no pressure. No, none at all. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you.
But you rather be there and actually have the chance to. Like, you win a championship. You lose, okay, well, you're part of history. History's going to be made no matter what, win or lose.
For
both teams.
We'd be the first ever back-to-back if we won it.
That's true.
That's
true.
Mm-hmm.
And you will be a part of the two. It'd be a part of the 2 championship club. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Which is, trust me, I've heard about that ever since we hosted the first game.
You and Chatola.
Yeah. I started getting pictures of Chatola of his 2 rings. So then I'm like, well, I also have 2 rings. I have one from the AFL and I have one from the NAL.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But so technically I'm going for number 3. So, but
I think Chatola has 3 too. I think he's been with the Sharks since day 1.
I don't. He looks like he's 15. I don't believe that. He likes to tease me because we have the same bookshelf.
Yeah. He's going. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get a text from him. It's like,
what the heck? There's the AFL ring.
Oh, the hardware.
And then here's the NAL ring. I haven't worn it since Jacksonville.
Oh no, man!
I'm just saying. Guess which one I designed.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I think we got the gist. Hey, this is a slight. I actually kind of like the NAL one a bit better.
I like it a lot better, to be honest with you.
I wonder why.
Well, I won one as the goofball running around the field, and then I won another one as the goofball running around the field who also had a title. So that's what they wanted to put me in like something, and one of the guys goes, "Is it on-field MC and president?" I'm like, I feel like president should probably go first. I just put it out there.
Just being honest.
I don't really care. It just feels like it's kind of important.
Or you can call the emperor. It's like Emperor Levack.
That's what Commissioner Siegfried. So I said that to him, like, kind of joking the first time I ever met him. He's like, "Commissioner," I go, "Emperor," and he's like, and I go, "Well, I run an empire. I've got to be an emperor. They didn't have presidents." So he still to this day will call me up, "Emperor Levack," and I'm like, "Oh crap, he's mad at me for something."
This ain't.
What did I do wrong this time?
This is not a democracy.
Yeah, right. I'm like, yes, address me as such. But no, he's up here as well. He's been super helpful. It's it's a crazy, crazy year, but here we are, man. Here we are. Let's go. Let's get another one.
17-week season gone just like that.
Unreal.
It
a
went
great
fast for a minute. The last, like, to be stuck home for 2 weeks, like during it, to not be there for the San Antonio game, which I've become really, really close with both facets of that organization. As they got started the first time around, we did what we could to help them get going. And then when the John Wayne ownership came in, we helped them with whatever we could to get going. To miss that game, that sucked out loud. And then to miss the Sharks game, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm in my house just like rocking, like I just want to go to the games. Like I wanted our guys to win so bad just so I could come to a game. I'm like, it's a championship, yeah, but I finally get to go to a game again.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping I will say this because Jim said it, I will make my way out there, so that'll be nice to talk to you and others in person.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm finding my way out there one way or another. I'm gonna get to Albany, New York. It's gonna happen.
It's a great place, man. You're gonna have fun. Come on out. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I gotta meet Coach Manas too. He even said he wants to show me the facilities. I gotta check the facilities.
Yeah. It's a great arena. The MVP arena is a great arena. So
absolutely.
It's like one of those old concrete buildings. So like when we get noisy, it gets real noisy. Like I know, like Jim likes to point out, not as many people as we used to have in the building, but it's still like one of the loudest buildings that you could possibly be in.
Shink. I just keep hearing the knives.
I'm just saying, all I hear about is our attendance, and it's like, all right, I get it. Listen, trust me, I don't love that we're not packing that building. You're talking to a guy that's been on the field in front of 14,000 people. I just like, there's just a point where you're just like, the only numbers that matter are the ones where we get more than you and we get a W. Like can we just do that? Like there's a lot of people who in the capital region who have been jilted so many times. Like the Firebirds left us, the Conquest left us, every hockey team, the Albany County Yankees. So the second that the Empire went away for a minute after the AFL went under, they all were like, nope, you'll never fool me again. So it's like, we're kind of proving to everybody we're not going anywhere. And I'll tell you right now that Mike Corda is going to do whatever he can with like whatever he can to keep this team here forever.
I love hearing that. And honestly, it's funny you say that because me living in Indianapolis. So if I bring up the Firebirds in here, they're like, oh yeah, I remember the Firebirds. But if I bring it up to you, and that's what I was just going to say, if I bring it up to anyone from the capital region, I've gotten, oh, how dare you? And I'm like,
right.
Well, yeah.
You want to make out my ex-wife in front of me too? Come on. What are you doing over here, Zach?
I know this is kind of, early NAL, but in 2017, there was a team in Albany, Georgia called the Firebirds. Albany, Georgia.
Yeah.
Firebirds, and they call themselves the Georgia Firebirds. I'm
you got to at least call it the Albany Firebirds. Just it's a troll job extreme right there.
Like we're beating the team to death. Like, come on, we know. Leave it alone. The history of that team. With touchdown, Eddie Brown, man.
Oh my God.
I am going to put this out there though, and this isn't like some confirmation on like future NAL plans or anything. But Jim knows I've been dying. I'm telling you, Indianapolis is a market. If you go and get it, come and get it. And here's how I do it. I actually would just rebrand them as the Firebirds, and then you have both of them involved. Well, and then you can fight each other.
I'll tell you what. You might want to have a conversation with Mike Corda because he owns the rights to the Firebirds.
Hey.
We were working on it. If we could have done it, we were going to have a full throwback game. So when we dropped the banner, we sold Firebirds t-shirts, but we want to have a game where we wear Firebirds gear for the fans. But hey, if you want to invest in a team, Zach, we could probably talk and
I'm saving my pennies, man.
You're close.
I don't have
the person that won the lottery in Illinois.
I don't
have. You're one state over.
I unfortunately do not have Rob Storm or Mike Corda money, so I don't. I wish I did. I'd be making a team. I'm just being that frank. So.
Listen, Mike Corda will be the first one to tell you. Mike Corda doesn't have Mike Corda money. He's just really smart with business. You see how big that melon is. That brain in there is real. That's the thing. We were gonna do Mike Corda bobblehead night, but we couldn't find a spring strong enough to hold the head up. So
yeah, you know what? I'll let you have those because I'm definitely not getting. Like Jim said, I'm good. You work with it.
I'm already up. Up the creek with some people in Albany. I'm not going to go further. up the
Mystery.
creek.
Oh, that's weird. Another
You go
9.
further up, you go to Niagara Falls, and that's Long Fall.
Every time I see one of those hot air balloons fly by, I'm like, oh, we can finally make Mike a hat. This will be great. But
I know, right? I was gonna say, if I swear, knowing me, I'd be like, oh, another 518 number. Wonder what this is. No, I'm kidding. Jeff, thanks a ton for joining the show, man.
Anytime,
honestly,
guys.
And look, win or lose, we wish you the best in putting on the best event possible, not only just for the Empire, really just for the NAL. I think that's what I want to stress this. I think people forget, just because you're the host team, remember, this is representing the league. This is supposed to be a celebration of the fandom of arena football, even if it's hosted in a different city, not in the city that a fan is in. If you like the team, you like the league, have a good time. This is kind of the best two squads going together, and I'm glad you guys are going to be putting on another event, and one where you get a full setup, you get more support. It sounds like. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, right up till kickoff, and then right to the final whistle. NAL all the way. Between those whistles, screw everyone else. It's all about Albany. And listen, I'm honest. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like Carolina, like they're blue bloods, man. They've been around. We would love to see them win, just not this year. We want another one. We're greedy. We're selfish, and our fan base that has come out deserves it. They've earned this, and we're gonna do everything we can to give it to them. And I told you, that group of guys that are gonna run out there wearing the blue and orange, you would love to hang out with each and every one of them. You really, really would. They're all great guys. All great guys.
Well, folks, if you're out in the capital region, come on out for the championship. By the way, meet Levack, meet me, and some others. Few ways to do that. You can go to the NAL's website or Albany Empire's. By the way, that's AlbanyEmpireNAL.com. You can search that up. Their tickets are on sale now for the championship. There's still
as
time.
low as $20. As low as $20.
Yeah, I mean, it's for professional football, it is a good deal. That is one thing I cannot stress enough. Also call 518-714-2200 if you want to get on the line to get
dead. I just saw Jim's name.
Otherwise, Jim's dead. Don't worry, Jim will be fine. He can't be yet. We have more episodes to make. Jim, come on. You can't be dead yet.
I'm already.
Also, guys, follow the Albany Empire at Albany Empire NAL on your favorite social media platform. By the way, follow the league accounts too. National Arena League, and follow us, of course, at In Walls Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For my co-host Jim Bernier, for team president of the Albany Empire, Jeff Levack, I'm Zach Common saying so long. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody, for the support, and honestly, just for a hell of a year. And we're about to have the great encapsulation to the 2022 season soon enough. We'll catch you in the next one with Coach Tom Manas.
Covering all your favorite parts of the 50-yard fight. This is the Inside the Walls podcast with Zach Kyleman and Jim Bernier.